Today in the crypto space, we're seeing a bit of a dip throughout the market. Bitcoin slightly below that $70,000 mark, Ethereum right around that $7,500 level, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, a few dips throughout the market. Polkadot, Near Protocol, Aptos, Uniswap with a bit of FUD. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project that is dipping down to those levels, those critical levels that could get a support, and that project is called GameSwift. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin obviously is getting a bit of, whipsaw price action in the last little while. It did dip down. However, it is trying to hold some support. 69,300, give or take, $70,000 mark. We have seen this level before, and we have held support around that level before. And it's very possible that, the retracement is over. We filled CME gaps. We potentially have endured a bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt with the inflation rates going up a little higher than expected. Now we're getting a bit of FUD based on Uniswap. Guys, we'll talk about the news tonight at 7:30. Feel free to join tonight. But ultimately, Bitcoin is resilient. It's doing its thing. Bitcoin is going sideways, getting a bit of a bounce here in the short term, obviously. Ethereum, did dip down significantly and is still kind of going sideways as well, following Bitcoin's lead. BNB, a nice bounce to the upside, up approximately 5%. Solana still grinding to the downside. Maybe a lot of people are leaving and going to base, and this is probably a trend that we've been seeing in the last little while, dipping below that $200 level. And we have XRP kind of going sideways, and if we keep on going down the market, you can see that either there's a bit of relief, either there's going sideways, or maybe we're coming down even further. I think the overall market right now at this current level is either you're going sideways or you're getting a further dip, and this is the reality, guys. Bitcoin hasn't been looking that great in the last little while in the daily time frame. If you look at all the indicators on the daily, it doesn't look good. So maybe we could get a bit of relief or sideways price action on the 4-hour on lower time frames. But big picture, I'm not totally convinced that the pressure is done to the downside. And it doesn't mean that we have to break down, significantly. It just means that you will be able to buy dips at slightly lower levels, even if it's at the bottom of the range type of scenarios, until we start breaking to the upside. Look at AVAX, dip down, now it's going sideways. Altcoin rallied up, going sideways. Now, in these consolidations is where we can start to build, our thesis. Look at Uniswap coming down approximately 10%. What a dip! Obviously, fuddish news. The people don't realize that if whatever's going to be happening there with the Uniswap scenario, it's going to take some time to play out. Uniswap's not going anywhere in the immediate short term. So let's see what's going on here with this FUD on Uniswap. Near Protocol grinding down approximately 6%. And you can see that with no FUD at all, it's down 6%. Uniswap getting FUD, it's down 10%. So the reality is this market has a mind of its own. It's going to do what it wants. And ultimately, the market tends to find true value. And we see a few dips throughout the market in the short term. Filecoin coming down. We have Aptos and Stacks and many, many more retracements throughout the market. Even BitTensor's down approximately 4%. Holding structure. Guys, we didn't make any lower lows. If you look at all these little the price action of all these projects, projects, you can see that we're still holding up above previous lows for the most part. So we're still doing okay here. We're not making lower lows. We're not getting confirmations of a break of structure. Overall, we're okay. Look at VeChain. VeChain still grinding to the upside. Yes, we did get a dip, but still higher highs and higher lows. Maker not looking the greatest. 2.7% to the downside. The graph still holding above the previous low. Optimism the same. Injective the same. And as you can see, the market, although it does look red, it does look bearish, it's still okay big picture. We're still okay here. The question is the trend our friend? Do we expect a continuation to the upside after this dip, or are we going to break some structure and come down for a further deeper red day where we can buy dips at double-digit dips? I'm looking for those double-digit dips, really. That will get me excited. 5-10% is nothing really much for me. I'm looking for bigger retracements. Arweave big picture isn't a bigger retracement. Guys, I released a video yesterday on Arweave and it's at a critical zone, guys. If Arweave does break down, I'm going to be buying a dip. I'm going to be definitely spamming some buy orders. Celestia coming down as well. I've been waiting patiently for good entries on Celestia and even Sui and a few others, guys. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on these for me to be able to scale in. Obviously, as they are larger cap altcoins, the reality is I'm buying into a state of which I don't expect many gains. So why am I going to be taking that much risk? And of course, the logic is that projects with large market caps don't have that much volatility. However, guys, I want volatility, but to the upside. And unless I get those confirmations, I'm not willing to take chance no matter the market cap. However, guys, I am still looking for risk to reward ratio, and I'm putting emphasis on lower cap altcoins because I want that volatility, but to the upside. Core coming down, Athena still grinding. We have some good indications that, look, the bear market is not we're in a bull run. Of course, we're in some bullish major trend, but there's bear markets intraday. There's bear markets intra-week. There's always bear markets, depending on the time frame you're looking at. We're technically in a short-term bear market, if you want to think about it like that. And these are opportunities to watch out for, because if we keep on going down, yes, guys, I'm going to be spamming some buy orders. Sideways price action is great, especially if you hold range. And that's where you can get in with a great risk-to-reward ratio, putting the stop loss underneath the invalidation, underneath the bottoms. And you can see many projects. CFX not looking good. What else do we have here? Yeah, look at these. Even Pith not looking the greatest. And WorldCoin, I'm not interested, but even making a lower low is not the greatest. So guys, generally speaking, the market is looking a little weak here. I get it. However, there are the majority of these projects are still within structure, no lower lows. Take these opportunities as you will. If we do come down and start breaking more structure, guys, be prepared with some cash on the side, ready to deploy to buy those dips. Guys, I know you're here to talk about price action. Let's begin talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still within this consolidation. Boring. It did get a rejection at the top of the range, got a nice railroad track right to where it came from, and now we're getting a bit of volatility. We got a green candle, we got a buy up, nice buy pressure. The MACD did fake us out in the last little while, but it does look like maybe it wants to get back up there and maybe get that EMA cross to the upside. And the chop zone, guys, we are still in the chop zone. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. As we stay in the chop zone, as the RSI, as the momentum, as any momentum stays in the chop zone, guys, I'm not expecting major volatility, right? And that's why we're seeing the orange line right here on my oscillator basically hang out, because as we stay, momentum stays in the chop zone. Don't expect huge moves. I'm expecting sideways, and of course consolidations, and they end up going sideways, and then we get an expansion. Do we have any signs of an expansion? The expansion wave has ended to the upside. Now we're waiting for an expansion wave to the downside. Now it doesn't have to happen. We can have multiple expansions to the upside, right? Even here, even this sideways consolidation, sometimes we get expansions to the downside on retracements. This is not even a retracement, guys. This is a typical bull flag scenario. We could hang out here for a little while longer for sure, and then eventually break to the upside. Now my biggest fear is that it could be a fake out. We could go up and get a failed breakout. hunt liquidity, grab that liquidity and trap them up, and then finally come down and maybe get into a bigger consolidation or whatever the case may be. The reality is, again, I keep on saying this every single day, I am not willing to take risk on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has done great for me already. I've done great, you know, from the bottoms to where we are right now. Bitcoin has been a great performer. But however, as we are seeing very, very frothy price action up here, I am more interested in finding bottoms on altcoins because we are due for an altcoin season. And we don't know when that's going to happen, but I definitely want to be prepared. So chop zone it is here for Bitcoin. We're not getting a pivot whatsoever. Usually when you see these diamonds, right? Usually when we see a flip from red diamonds to green diamonds, we definitely see a good impulsive move in that expansion. We're not getting a series of red diamonds at the top to flip that, you know, momentum to the upside or to the downside or whatever the case is. We're staying green, which means that we could hold up with a very good bullish trend, even though we're going sideways, and continue to the upside and maintain the momentum, a green momentum, which is super, super bullish. So there's no real reason to get super fearful here and taking crazy profits. It's just about understanding where your invalidations. And for me, it's this low right here at 61,300, give or take. We start breaking below there. Guys, there's levels of horizontal support that we got to expect to be touching in order to get that bounce. All right, guys, let's jump right into the GameSwift chart. What's going on with GameSwift? GameSwift, at the end of the day, guys, has been looking a little bit weak, and we came down right back to range lows. Guys, risk to reward right now on this project is awesome. Fundamentals are strong, guys. If you're looking for a deep dive and you want to know a bit about what the project is, feel free to check out my deep dive playlist. It's definitely there with all kinds of deep dives. And one of them, of course, is GameSwift. The fundamentals are good. The project is good. The price action at the current moment is definitely coming down. When there's fear in the market, uncertainty, right, and doubt, what happens is that the market tends to want to get back to a place where of safety. And the only place of safety when you have type of price action like this with a massive accumulation is the range lows. Why? Because that's where you can put your stop loss. That's where you can mitigate your risk. You put a stop loss underneath this low, then you're good. You're willing to take risk again. So let's see what happens here. Is the market going to be buying up in this level? Now, it's a bit early to get into buy orders. Why? Because technically you're trying to buy or catch a falling knife, which is a very dangerous scenario. We don't know if we're going to break this low and keep on coming down. And if we kind of look at what's happening here with the momentum, the purple line is definitely coming down to oversold conditions, and the volatility did a U-turn and definitely came right back down as well. The trend on the momentum, the yellow line, is definitely pushing down into oversold conditions, and we can see an expansion to the downside here on GameSwift, which means that the reality is there's no indication that we are done pushing down. So we could definitely make a lower low here, which is very unfortunate because there's a lot of people that are bullish on GameSwift, and I am one of them. I like the project, I like the value proposition, I like the team, I like everything about tokenomics. Everything that it's trying to achieve seems great. And the narrative, guys, let's not forget about the narrative. The gaming narrative has taken a bit of a break, but it is a hot narrative, and it should be a very, very exciting narrative for the up and coming bull run. So where should we be taking risks? To be honest, taking risk at invalidation is the key, right? We fell through this volume gap very easily. You can see that very quickly, very easily. We fell through this gap, and in fact, we didn't even close it that much. Am I really concerned about that gap? Not really going forward. However, what I'm mostly concerned about is the bottom. Why? Because let's see if I can reuse these arrows successfully. You know what? Let me just start another one, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't for me. But nonetheless, if we go right here and put an arrow, you can see that if we buy into this level, you can put a stop loss with a little bit of a wiggle room just in case and mitigate your losses. Let it fall if it's going to fall. Let it find the bottom. And unfortunately, we could get it to extension levels. We could get to severe extension levels, and let's kind of play out what that looks like. Swing low to swing high, and we're coming down to 1.27, 1.618. Let's put some horizontal lines in there so that we can, just be aware that it's very, very possible. There's no certainties of any of this, but taking a dip down to this level may give us the opportunity to buy in at much lower levels. Now, you obviously have to have a lot of conviction to be able to buy dips on these types of red dips, right? These are huge dips we're talking about. We're talking about good percentages. Now, what about if we get a bounce right here? Unfortunately, if you don't get some skin in the game, we could go back to range highs right back to where it came from. Why? Because again, people are going to be looking at this as a healthy risk to reward ratio. Once we get into dip discovery, we have no price action looking left to help us make decisions. Right now we do. We have this low. So from a bullish perspective, this is the ideal place to start building a position. Now we can get confirmations. Obviously, we can get into lower time frames on the 4 hour. That would be great. But if we stick to the daily, it would be nice to see this finally get oversold. Let's see if the volatility, which is the orange lines, rounds over. You know, we want it to get rounded off so that we can see a little pop. It would be nice to get some signs of bullish divergence on the purple line to see that, you know what, maybe the momentum is done. Maybe the bears are done pushing. It would be super, super nice to see the MACD get an EMA cross to the upside with at least one histogram bar up. But guess what we see here right now? We're seeing multiple red candles to the downside. So based on the daily, like I'm saying, there's no indication that this is over. But if we get onto the 4 hour, let's see what's happening here. A bit of uncertainty, perhaps confusion. MACD is getting a bit confused. We're opening up again to the downside, staying in the bearish control zone, and momentum at the end of the day. Let's see what momentum is up to. We have the purple line getting oversold and the volatility oversold, and the expansion to the downside is definitely still intact with no real signs just yet that it's over. Other than that, we may have reached the peak, like we have reached the peak in the past, but there's no guarantee here, guys. There's no guarantee, no signs of bullish divergence, not even on the 4 hour, no signs of anything other than getting into oversold conditions, which is great. Now, horizontal support, this is where it's at. Are we getting any other signs? Not really, but it wouldn't be a bad time to take a bit of risk, especially if you're on the sidelines and do not hold any. It wouldn't be a bad idea to get in with a bag and then come up with a plan. What are you going to do about if it does break below this horizontal? Are you going to stop yourself out, or are you just going to wait for it to come down and double down, triple down? And if you decide to do that, what you're going to have to do is get into a very small bag here, guys, so that you reserve capital to buy dips at lower levels. Again, a lot of the times when you're getting into an accumulation phase like this one that hasn't gotten a strong expansion to the upside just yet, because you can see all accumulation, no expansion yet, what we really want to do is get in based on fundamentals. So I highly suggest that you do a deep dive. You can begin that research checking out my deep dive video that I do have on the channel, so go check that one out. But ultimately, guys, you can see all this market participation that is really interested right here in accumulating for a nice bounce and breakout to the upside. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm, getting this channel going. And if you want to follow me on the socials, feel free to find the links in the description below, and of course join that Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.